Order the Westmont Village Board meeting of September the 29th, 2016 to order at 6 o'clock p.m. and ask Clerk Sinski for a roll call, please.
Mayor Gunther?
Here.
The clerk's here. Trustee Addington?
Here.
Trustee Barker?
Here.
Trustee Berry is absent tonight. Trustee Guzzo?
Here.
Trustee Little?
Here.
Trustee Nero?
Here.
Village Manager May?
Here.
Finance Director Parker?
Here.
And Attorney Zemanek.
Here.
I'd like to ask Joshua and Alexander if you come to the front and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Would everybody please rise and join them in the Pledge of Allegiance? You guys start.
Okay.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We'll see more of them later. All right, again, I'd like to welcome everybody. This is a very distinguished group of individuals, and even former Chief Zipcheck is here. Top the other. So what I'd like to do now is open forum. I understand there's no one has a request for any open forum. Everything else is on the agenda. So we'll go to reports, and my report is first. And we've got a couple small yet important awards to present before we get to the swearing in of our new police chief. And at this time, I'll ask Manager May to give our service award out.
Thank you. We're certainly and very pointedly taking advantage of the amount of people in the room to do some other honors tonight. The first one is a service anniversary for Michael Ramsey, the Director of Public Works. Mike's worked with the Village of Westmont for 30 years. His anniversary was last month. 30 years as a full-time employee. Mike did start in the Public Works Department several years before that, 1982 actually, as a seasonal worker. Told his first job was to, if you remember the old train station in the depot in the black tube, well, years get up there and clean it. And some other reason, he taught someone else to climb it up there, but then proceeded to hose it down, and that person slid off and broke stuff. But yet they still let him stay here and everything. But you find out, Mike. Mike's had different capacities with the Public Works Department. Started full-time in 1986 as a water distribution worker. There's a customer service coordinator, which is our complicated title for the meter reading, the meter service. We call it customer service because he's physically been in every single household in the community to do that. And also as an operator in the water treatment plant, and then the water distribution supervisor for several years. Before the last 2 years, he's been he's been the Director of Public Works. So this is for you, Mike. It's a plaque honoring, the recognition of the 30 years of dedicated service to the community of the Village of Westmont. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That's quite an honor. Thank you. I've really appreciated working for the Village of Westmont, and I know everybody's here not for me, but I do feel appreciated everybody's here. A lot more important, but I do appreciate it. But yeah, it's been a great honor, working for the Village for this long. I'm looking forward to a lot more years working for the Village, and I really do appreciate this honor, and I thank you all.
Thank you. I have one more that's called the Mayor's Distinguished Public Service Award, and this is something that, meeting with Manager May, different trustees over the course of the last several months, and the public, it became very obvious to us that one of our employees is deserving of this award, and I'd have Manager May talk about that employee.
Mayor, and as you'll recognize, and kind of an offshoot of the Customer Service Award program, which was initiated over 2 years ago, where within ourselves we can acknowledge good customer service within the village services. Anyone can nominate any staff. Nominations do come from within though. So whether it's the village board or a supervisor or peers, anybody can nominate and make a recommendation. And when we have those recommendations, they ultimately do come to the village board, and we acknowledge them. You'll have seen them at village board meetings in the past, and we'll do that customer appreciation award, customer service award. In each of those cases, the recipient is notified, and they attend, they plan and attend, and their supervisor will speak to why they were nominated and present the award. Tonight, we're deviating a little bit with this process because I can. And secondly, this particular award is a nomination that wasn't necessarily internal. In fact, it was a widespread external indirect nomination, if you will, regarding this acknowledgement tonight. The customer service program is designed to acknowledge staff, and department heads aren't nominated. So tonight, together with the mayor and taking advantage again of all the people in attendance, that we're initiating this new acknowledgement to present the Mayor's Distinguished Public Service Award, and it's given in recognition of superior public service provided to residents, businesses, organizations, as well as staff of the Village of Westmont. The recipient tonight is Jill Ziegler, our Community Development Director. As you can tell, over the past many meetings, and you've all heard it, there's been repeated unsolicited comments about whether some form of praise or just the high frequency of unsolicited compliments, appreciation, and it could even have been with a situation that was necessarily it could have been even code enforcement related. There was still the compliment. You've heard them at the meetings. You've all heard the feedback. Sometimes it's just meetings in the village hall with other staff or a developer, or the mayor and I are at a meeting, and someone will just on their own express that. We all of us who work for the community and work in public service know the criticisms and the complaints are very quick and easily given, but when there's a compliment, even when things are doing well and going good, compliments are, they're occasional, they're very rare, but they occasionally do happen. But they have, this frequency of compliments is telling of something, bigger and the purpose of this award. I'm not going to speak about any particular item. Like I said, there were multiple instances in there. I made a note there. She'll attest that at one point I asked her how much she was paying for all of this because of the frequency of the compliments that were coming in. It was kind of hard to believe. But in each time, when it was done, I've tried to make a point of pointing it out, soon thereafter, whether it's the next day, and it's invariably, the answer is, well, this is just what we do. Always humbled, but not picking up on the fact that it's not normal to have this kind of level of feedback. We giving Jill a lot of credit here tonight. There is a well organized department down there too. She's not necessarily, these compliments don't always, just Jill. That's Jill and Joe, Jill and Mel, Jill and Jim, Jill and Larry. There's a variety of compliments, John and Jill, although in those situations he's Jack. But in all those combinations, Jim is part of that. So on behalf of the mayor, the village board, and all the staff in the room, I'll let the mayor present.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much. This is a very big honor, and it's nice to feel so appreciated, and this definitely comes from all of our community development department downstairs, as well as working with awesome people and in the other departments. And I love working for the Village of Westmont, and I'm really excited for the future. And I'm also going to use this as as a way to plug our our joint Richmond Gardens project, which you guys have all heard me talk about excitedly in the past couple weeks. We have a fundraiser next Monday at Chipotle, so go and everybody have a burrito and support our new projects that are going on in the downtown. So thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations. Now it's my,
Left
oh,
to
go
do.
ahead, manager.
Only got one item left to do, and that's
Go ahead.
for you.
Oh, it's for me. And it is my honor this evening to participate in the swearing-in of our new police chief. With us this evening is Senator Chris Nybo, who's from the 24th District, Bob Berlin, our DuPage County State's Attorney, and who also would have been with us, but she's visiting family on the East Coast, would have been Patty Belloc. So I'll ask Senator Nybo if you could please come to the podium, and he's got a couple things to say.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I'll be brief because we're really all here for you, soon to be Chief Gunther. But I just wanted to take a moment to explain we get a lot of invitations in our capacities in the legislature, and we're not able to go to every event that we're invited to. But this was an event that I thought it was particularly important to be at for a variety of different reasons. First of all, a lot of good things are happening in Westmont, obviously, with the awards, and I compliment everybody here with the Village, who works for the Village, who lives in the Village. You know, it's a wonderful community. We're going to celebrate something wonderful with your taking the office, oath of office tonight. But we also live in interesting times nationally, and law enforcement all across the country, I think, has been inappropriately put on defense. They're under attack, and I think it's important that when we have the opportunity to recognize the service and the accomplishments of not only you, Chief, but anybody in law enforcement and everybody in law enforcement, that we do so. And I think it's important that we keep in mind several important things about those who take the oath to serve us as police officers. First of all, they are servants. Just as the mayor is a servant, just as I'm a servant, you are a servant, and you do this on behalf of communities, for communities, and I think that's important. But unlike other servants such as the mayor or myself, on a daily basis, people like you put your lives really at risk. And in any moment, you could jeopardize your safety or your life. And I think it's important that we recognize the sacrifices that you make in that regard in keeping our community safe. Also, I think it's important to recognize the high expectations that police officers face. It is expected that they're perfect in their jobs. And I don't think not few people in public service are held to such a high standard as you are. Lord knows, as a politician, we're not held to that high of a standard. And so, to your credit, knowing that you face such high expectations, we, as an additional sign of appreciation, we recognize the high standards to which you guys are held. Finally, I think it's important to recognize the safety that you put yourselves in jeopardy of risking, the high expectations, keeping our community safe, but you're also people. You have family members. You have people who worry about whether you're going to come home at night. And so, on behalf of myself, on behalf of the community that you serve, on behalf of anybody who lives under the protection of police officers, I just wanted to say thank you, and it's an honor to be a part of this ceremony tonight, so thank you.
And at this point, I'd ask Senator Nybo and Bob Berlin, if you please come to the front and join me. And Chief Gunther, we're going to ask Senator to swear you in. We're going to flank him on each side.
We should have planned out where to stand, huh? Yeah.
He's got to face his family. So you stand. Yeah, there you go. Gus flanking on the other side. That works. Yeah. Give it a second. Yeah, everybody come on in. Yeah, come on in the middle. That's fine. Good idea.
Yeah.
We are. Okay. Mr. Gunther, will you raise your right hand, please? And repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Jim Gunther,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
the laws of DuPage County,
the laws of DuPage County,
the Westmont Village Code of Ordinances,
the Westmont Village Code of Ordinances,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office of Chief of Police
the duties of the office of Chief of Police
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations, Chief.
All right, Jim, floor is yours.
Lacking some hardware, too.
Yeah, it's pretty right now.
I'm gonna do that right now.
Pin them on,
Yeah, we
yes.
should do that, yeah.
We should do that first. I want to ask your, well, wait, you want to
You
wait
can
till
do what
after
you
you
like,
talk?
sir.
Yeah. Wife gets the pin, yeah. Jump to the.
I was excited. I guess this is important, huh?
Absolutely.
I got it. You said it.
I think that Michelle's a trained professional with putting stars on, so that helps. I have a long prepared statement, which I would like to get to some of it, but I think to open with, I am absolutely overwhelmed with the showing. I could not be happier that everybody who showed up. I have friends from my childhood through, friends that I've met very recently here. I've had family members, family that flew in from out of state, a friend that flew in from out of state, friends and colleagues from various departments, former police officers with the Village of Westmont, and I couldn't be happier that I have this many of our current police officers here in attendance. So I want to just initially thank everybody for being here because I am absolutely overwhelmed right now. So having said that, and as a promise to Manager May that I will not spend all of my time or more time than my predecessor spent at the podium, I will try to keep it somewhat brief. But I also promise him that this will be the longest I will ever be at the podium in my tenure as chief. So let me soak it up while I can. First, I would like to thank my wife, Michelle, for being my rock and the person that I use as a sounding board most often in my life. As most of you know, Michelle was a police officer here with the Village for over 10 years. And I could easily see her standing here in this spot if I stayed home with the kids and she stayed on as a job. So thank you, Michelle. I appreciate everything you do for me. Secondly, I'd like to thank my boys, Josh and Alex, who make me proud to be a father and are a challenging group of children. And who talk as much as their mom. So I would like to thank my parents for raising me with good manners, for saying thank you and you're welcome, and for opening doors for people. I think the values instilled in me as a child have carried with me throughout my life. I'd like to thank the mayor and the manager, for whom I would not be standing here if I was not selected for this job. I think that knowing them and their philosophy for the village and how they want to run municipal government absolutely compelled me to take the position when it was offered. So I thank both of you for that. And for a point of clarification, I do want to say that the mayor and I are not related. We are separated by the letter H. I have one and he does not. So I'd like to thank the village board, whom I've worked with very closely over my tenure as deputy chief. I would like to give a special thanks to Trustee Addington, who swore me my first oath of office as a patrol officer back in 1997, and we're still together. So I'm glad you got to witness the last one. I would absolutely like to thank all the rest of the village staff who I work with very closely. Basically, that whole back row over in that corner. You know, I understand that the police is a department of many within village government, and that all the pieces fit together and work seamlessly to deliver the services to the community that we serve. I would really like to thank Clerk Shimsky, because I blew it the last couple of times that I had an opportunity to recognize Clerk Shimsky at the 9/11 ceremony. I had it written down in my notes and I forgot. Making it up to you. I'd like to thank Chief Weiss of the Westmont Fire Department, who is not in attendance. He's vacationing right now, but he sent me a couple text messages last night. And certainly all the members of the Westmont Fire Department. You know, we are, between police and fire, public safety within the village, and couldn't have prouder partners. I would also like to thank all the EMA members and all the volunteers that work throughout the year, providing free labor, no cost, for doing jobs that police officers would be doing if we didn't have them. So thank an EMA member. They are absolutely wonderful people, and they do outstanding work. The Fire and Police Commission that we work closely with to hire the best police officers that the village can, and who also promote sergeants, you know, from patrol to sergeants. They do a mountain of work behind the scenes. The DuPage County State's Attorney, Bob Berlin, who's in attendance. I would definitely like to thank Bob, because he and I met several years ago when he was the Assistant State's Attorney with Fiat, and I was a member of the Major Case Squad. And you certainly learn a lot about a person when you're working on interrogation techniques at 3 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday. State's Attorney Berlin is absolutely passionate about DuPage County, and you know, really is an outstanding State's Attorney from a perspective of justice, and he absolutely runs a great office and an incredible partner for us. I would like to thank the Citizens Police Academy Alumni Association, and in particular 2 people, Dawn King and Vivian Sharkey. There's Vivian, there's Dawn. Motivators for years. They've been pushing me to be the best person I could be, and they do an absolutely fantastic job around the station all the time. I think that a particular group of people that need to be recognized are the Westmont police officers that are retired. We are now members of the members of the department today are picking up the slack for the guys that have been doing it for, you know, since we were incorporated. So I would definitely like to thank that group of people, because they trained me to be, you know, who I am today. And Maggie Buer, my administrative assistant, who gets, where's Maggie at? Oh, there you are. Hey, Maggie. Maggie doesn't like any attention brought to her, so everybody can just look at Maggie for a second, make her get redder than me. Maggie does an outstanding job. You know, this is my second go-around with Maggie. She was my investigative division secretary for 3 years, and now we've both changed offices and responsibilities, and we're right back together. And finally, I'd like to thank soon-to-be former Chief Mulhern for he promoted me to deputy chief, which I have held that job for 6 years, and for leaving me with a police department in great shape and needing minor adjustments, not major overhauls. So thank you, Chief Mulhern, who's still technically the chief until October 7th. Yeah, I won't say. Okay. So we're co-chiefs. When I started out in law enforcement, I promised myself that I would spend my career with the first police department that took a chance on hiring me. Naturally, the place that made me that offer was the place that was furthest from my hometown. I've never regretted my decision, and count my blessings that my entire career will be spent with the Westmont Police Department. I was trained by old school cops who ingrained in me a deep connection to community. I have evolved over the years through training and education to include contemporary law enforcement principles. I will use all those experiences to guide the police department in the future. Long ago, my mom, who's sitting in the front row recording me, told me that she worried about me becoming a police officer, not because of the inherent danger, like driving license sirens to a call, or kicking indoors, executing search warrants, or breaking up bar fights, things that I like to call fun, but because she didn't want me to become a cynical and lose my sense of humor. A couple days ago, I texted my mom and asked her if I still have my sense of humor, and she said, quote, that if I lost it, she said, no way. So I think that I'm the same person that I was 20 years ago, just with a heck of a lot more responsibility. It is a complicated time for law enforcement. Expectations and demands for transparency at our all-time high. There's not a week that goes by that a high-profile police interaction makes national news. We have an opportunity to reach out into every facet of our community and create a permanent bond between police officers and those we serve. Our greatest asset is a community that places their trust and faith in their police. I've had the privilege of working with some of the best law enforcement professionals on a national and international basis through the FBI National Academy and locally on 2 task forces based in DuPage County. These officers wear different uniforms and different badges representing the uniqueness of the communities they serve, but are held together by the common thread of service and dedication to their profession. All officers, no matter where they call home, stand ready to help anywhere, anytime, on duty or off, active or retired. This is probably what I love best about my job, the uniqueness of the thin blue line. And finally, to the men and women of the Westmont Police Department, who I could not be happier you all showed up. Thank you. I am humbled to be your leader. It is my pledge to be consistent with my decisions and supportive of your best interests. Your actions, your behavior, your professionalism are the cornerstones of our police department, and I look forward to assisting all of you further your careers to reach your full potential. I want you to know that all of you are my top priority, first and foremost. That's what I got.
Oh, well, hey. And while you're getting congratulations, I do have to say that one thing Addington did right.
Congratulations, my friend. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Oh. And again, congratulations, Jim.
So we can all move this over here to the next room that way, and we'll have cake and coffee.
Yes. We're going to take a 5-minute recess, and then we'll re-adjourn our meeting and continue on the agenda. And Senator, thank you. Bob, thank you. All right, we're back from the recess. Again, we all like to congratulate new chief Jim Gunther. And I do have to say, I've worked with him. I've been mayor now 3.5 years. I've known him from years in the community, and I think he made the right choice. So at this time, I'll move on to other reports, and I've got Clerk Simpson.
I just have a quick update on the spring election packets. Again, I'm reminding everybody they are ready. They can be picked up at the clerk's office. The election is April 4th. It includes the mayor, the clerk, 3 trustees, and 2 6-year library trustee positions. So please pick up packets if you're interested in running for election here. And the filing period is December 12th to the 19th. And I just would like Linda Sabatka to come up and talk about the blue masks. So if you would come up and
Tomorrow night.
tomorrow night.
Hello. I'd like to invite all first responders to our Blue Mass tomorrow night, Friday, at 7 o'clock to Holy Trinity Church, which is 111 South Cass. All first responders, fire, police, military, anyone. We're honoring all first responders. And please come.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all?
And that's all I have. Thank you.
Attorney Zemanek.
Nothing tonight.
Manager May.
Mayor, I'm exhausted. I have,
All right, I'll go to Trustee Addington.
Okay, couple of things. First one is Economic Development Committee will be meeting on Wednesday, this coming Wednesday, October the 5th, 9 o'clock in the conference room behind me. There's going to be one new presentation for a new business that's coming in, plus we're still working on those parts of the strategic plan that have to do with economic development. Anybody who would like to be there, it's open to everyone. So that's 9 o'clock Wednesday. And a couple other things. Fine Arts Showcase, you mentioned that before. Do you want to talk about it again? You went, right?
No, I wasn't able to.
You weren't there? Because I was out of town, wasn't able to get there myself. But we did have the Fine Arts Showcase, Chamber Open House. Larry back in. You want to mention how the open house went, Larry? It was at, used to be Brood Awakening, so.
Not Bird
We had
Awakening.
the open house this time at
Urban
Myths and
Legend.
Legends Brewery, which was the Urban Legend Brewery, and we had a great turnout that evening, and they did a fantastic job. And it went so well. The feedback from our board of directors meeting earlier in the week is that we're going to try to repeat that at different venues throughout the community going forward.
Good. Thank you very much. And then ribbon cutting is the last thing on economic development. We were at Acura last week. Thursday, they had actually a 3-day ribbon cutting ceremony with different events going on each day, but we did the ribbon cutting on Thursday and went very well, attended by a lot of people. If you get a chance to stop in, they've done a fantastic job on their property. I think some $2 million to upgrade, and that went very well. So that's it on economic development. Let's get to strategic plan. Is Larry back? Larry, you're here? Let Larry talk about, Monday night, we had the first of the community branding subcommittee workshop. And I'm going to let Larry kind of bring everybody up to date. It was extremely well attended and just unbelievable. So Larry, you got the floor.
Thank you, Trustee Addington. Myself and Amy Quattrone led the meeting on Monday, and we had over 20 people show up, but in addition to that, we probably had a dozen folks who emailed and said they desperately really want to be involved, but weren't able to make it to that particular meeting. Then we had another 50 people in the previous survey who said that they really wanted to be involved with the branding initiative, top to bottom. And with that, we have quite a few local professionals, citizens who are willing to step up, roll up their sleeves, be volunteers. So that's people who have been involved with branding in the past, PR agency folks, writers, and marketing, advertising. So it's very exciting, and basically Amy and I are going to take a look at the results from the Monday night meeting and bring that to the next strategic plan meeting, and then go for next steps. So look forward to more things coming up soon.
Thank you. I think what's really interesting about this part of all of this process that some 300 and some people responded to the survey, and that's the most responses we've ever had to any of these surveys. But they did take a survey last year and asked people what they thought about image and branding and the slogan and all that kind of stuff. And 25% said keep it, or they like it. 25% were on the fence post. 50% said change it. So I think that's what we're looking at, and a lot of positive people, but we'll keep going forward. We'll keep informing you as we do, but I'm excited about this part of the strategic plan because we got some people that, you know, Amy kind of broke things up into a little group and just asking them, well, give me some thoughts and ideas. And there's a couple of people who came up with unbelievable little ideas. One of them that was kind of really cute was they took the name Westmont, put a circle around the W and drew a line through it, and put a B above it. Made it Bestmont. That was 5 minutes. So I can tell you, we've got some really, really good design public relations people who I think are going to really jump into this thing and have some fun with it. So and we'll be coming back from time to time with that. The last thing is just so that there is a little recap on what happened. The circus was a week ago Friday, and almost 1,800 people came to that circus, a lot of kids. They all had a good time, and it turned out to be a very nice night. So unless there's any other questions, Mayor, I'm done for tonight.
Thank you. Trustee Little.
Thank you, Mayor. I just have 2 items. Westmont special events, we're already working on the end of this year for the winter events, but we're also looking ahead. We're working on next year's events, and I wanted to let everyone know that if you want to get involved in any capacity, whether it's 1 hour, 1 meeting, 1 event, 1 lifetime, we're looking for a whole lot of volunteers to come out and help us make 2017 a more successful year than 2016, and this one's pretty good. Feel free to call 630-829-9378 and talk to Christina in the office, and she'll make sure that we know who you are. Last thing I wanted to mention is the administration committee recap went off at 4 o'clock today. We talked about our sister city program presentation, and then the executive safety committee, and that's all I have.
Thank you. Trustee Nero.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple quick items. First off, the next Public Safety Committee meeting will be December 8th. The next item is just a reminder that Saturday, October 15th, 1 to 3 p.m. at the Johannic Fire Station will be the Fire Department open house. So please pencil that in. And last, but certainly not least, is the Silent Parade, which is Friday, October 14th. The parade route is staying the same as last year's event, starting out at Hinsdale and ending at the church in Lisle. There'll be cookies and coffee in the cafe of the church at the end of the parade. So again, please put that on your calendar, and that's all I have, sir.
Trustee Guzzo.
Thank you, Mayor. Just one quick item. Our next Finance Committee meeting will be Thursday, October 13th at 4 o'clock here in the Village Hall. Everyone is invited to attend. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Trustee Barker.
One item this evening, I wanted to just talk about the Stuff a Truck and the help with People's Resource Center, the Chamber, Westmont First are all going to participate in a food drive and a funding drive for the People's Resource Center here in town. And we're going to do a little different this year. We're going to distribute paper bags, and we're going to ask people to take these bags, fill them with food items or cash donations, and then bring them back. We will collect those bags at Holidays, and that'll be our drive this year for the People's Resource Center, and we're hoping to increase participation by doing that. We'll actually give paper bags to the people that want to make a donation and ask them to return those. So we're excited about that. That's starting October 22nd. It'll start with the Trick or Treat Trail, Small Business Saturday, and the Haunted Forest, and we'll be out distributing those bags. So that is all.
Thank you. Moving on the agenda, items to be removed from the consent agenda. Does any board members like any item? If
There's
not,
only one item on there, so I hope not.
Well, I'd ask Manager May to please read.
Actually, excuse me, there's 2 items, but tonight on the consent agenda, our village board meeting minutes, board to consider approving the minutes of the village board special meeting held September 8th, 2016, as well as the regular village board meeting September 15, 2016. Next and last on the consent agenda is finance ordinance number 11 in the amount of $1,205,197.50. That concludes.
Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion by Addington to approve the consent agenda.
Second by Little.
Motion been made and second on the question. Seeing none, roll call, please.
Trustee Addington.
Yes.
Trustee Little.
Yes.
Trustee Barker.
Yes.
Trustee Guzzo.
Yes.
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Seeing there's no unfinished business, we'll move on to new business. A, veterinarian on 35 North Cass Avenue. Board to consider an ordinance approving the following request from Dr. Jessica Torek, DVM, to operate a veterinarian office in the B1 Limited Business District. 1, a special use permit to operate a veterinarian office. 2, zoning code variance for a veterinarian office to be located within 100 feet of a residential district. And 3, a development permit. And we'd ask Community Development Director Ziegler to give us some more information.
Thank you, Mayor. The applicant is requesting to use a long-standing vacant downtown building for a vet office. The interior would be completely remodeled with a sprinkler system, and the facade enhancements are proposed to improve the street presence, which is in keeping with our design guideline recommendations from our comprehensive plan. While retail is preferred and recommended in the downtown, staff carefully reviews service uses when they are considered an appropriate fit and presents them to the village board for individual consideration. This particular tenant space has not been found viable for retail in almost a decade. This is partially because of parking, the size of the space, and the need to bring it up to, and the amount of money that's needed to bring it up to code compliance. Because of these reasons, we're more open to a non-retail or restaurant use, particularly after paying attention to changing retail trends in downtowns. Just yesterday, I attended a seminar that regarding our shopping habits and how hard it is for small retailers to try to compete with online shopping, and how hard it is to attract national tenants to small downtowns, particularly when they're not expanding. So after considering all of these topics, the Planning and Zoning Commission made a unanimous positive recommendation at the vet's public hearing. They asked questions about medical waste and disposal, parking, the appearance of the rear of the building, and discussed public comments and concerns. The Economic Development Committee also gave a unanimous positive recommendation on August 3rd. And the Commission also listened to the public who had concerns regarding the veterinarian office fitting into the vision of the comprehensive plan, and if this was an appropriate use at this location. I'm available for any questions, and the applicant is also here if there's any.
What I'd like to do is ask the applicant to come to the podium, and then after, I'll open it up for any public comment. At the Planning and Zoning meeting is when we get sworn testimony. Tonight, if anybody's here about this topic, I'll allow 3 minutes. Not you, you could talk a little longer, but anybody else who'd like to comment about it, we'll give them an opportunity.
Thank you, Mayor. Didn't want to sound like the Micro Machines guy, 3 minutes. So my name's Dr. Jessica Torek. I've been a veterinarian for about 8.5 years. I'm a graduate of Purdue University. I graduated in the top 10 to 15% of my class, which happened to be a very competitive group. And following that graduation, I actually did a postgraduate internship in small animal medicine and surgery, also with Purdue University. I took a position at a small animal practice as an associate and practiced with that company for about 4 years, serving 2 years as an associate and 2 as their medical director. At that point, I was offered a position here in Chicago to manage a corporate veterinary group downtown, and I was in charge of 5 doctors and about 30 staff. So I have some extensive background, both in surgery and in management and in wellness care for pets. It has been my dream for quite some time to own my own hospital, and everything that I've done since graduation has led me up to that point. I did have some time in the U.S. Navy following my graduation from high school, where I did train as a surgical tech, and that's what sort of sparked my interest in surgery going forward. I've lived quite a few places while I was active duty, including overseas for a few years in Okinawa, Japan, and so I appreciate that there are different things that each person can bring to the table and to their community. I did actually do an externship in South Africa and worked with some wildlife management And so I have quite a bit of exotic animal experience as well. And so I plan to not only see dogs and cats, but also fish and birds and ferrets and chinchillas. And so there aren't a lot of doctors who are capable of seeing that many species. Following my internship and that experience that I had with Chicago downtown, I met a very great partner and have since moved to the suburbs. And so my goal truly is to provide profoundly personalized pet care. I want to be in with families. I want to see their pets grow. I want to know when their kids' birthdays are. That's fun for me. I don't like the corporate component of things very much, but I do want more than just myself to be in this practice. I want more doctors. I want the opportunity to teach new vets. I want to host them as externs in the hospital through the American Animal Hospital Association, which I'll touch base about a little bit as we go on. So the building, as you can see, 35 North Cass, it needs some updating. And my vision is to put the logo and some sort of signage at the front and update it tremendously. I've got some pictures in here that can kind of show you an idea of what I want for the front of the building. So just updated numbers, updated facade, paint, definitely replace those front windows, just get that to be a more modern and urban feel. I think that when you see those types of buildings, other people will model after that. An awning, something that allows people to, get in out of the rain if they have to, or out of the snow, but something that's very clean and very visible from the street. The reception area, because it is an urban idea, poured concrete floors with a somewhat asymmetrical desk, but still ADA accessible, potentially an accent wall behind the desk. My vision is to have 2 rows of exam rooms down the hallway with a barrier wall directly behind reception. The exam rooms and entrances, all very clean and well appointed. There's, idea is to have an aquarium wall, which would be part of the cat room so that the cats are entertained and the owners can be entertained on both sides. But it just gives some visuals for people to look at other than just walls. The pharmacy and treatment areas are where most of our work gets accomplished. But there are also plans to have a relatively large surgical suite because I do a lot of orthopedic surgeries as well as soft tissue and reconstructive surgeries. So there's quite a bit of equipment that needs to be installed and updated to get that building up to where it needs to be. As I mentioned before, AHA is the American Animal Hospital Association. There is no standard of care in veterinary medicine. You can walk into 6 different hospitals and 6 different doctors will do 6 different things. The AHA Association actually has a baseline for pets so that when you walk into an AHA hospital, you know that you can expect adequate pain management, infection control procedures, that they're going to have a dedicated surgical suite where no dirty procedures are done to decrease post-operative infections. And with that same group is also the opportunity to bring in externs to teach that new group of students. Students actually seek out externships to come to those hospitals to learn how to be good doctors. Generally anticipate myself as an initial staff with 1 to 2 technicians and a receptionist, so not too many people in the building at one time initially, and probably adding a second doctor, as I mentioned, within that second year. We've got, like as Jill had mentioned, pretty minimal in the retail sales component compared to other businesses that are not service-based. Most of ours will be service. Most of it will be pet food, treats, leashes, things that I can incorporate into my medical recommendations, like if your pet is having difficulty with this behavior problem, here's the medication I might use, or a shampoo or a calming treat, something of that nature. The floor plan is pretty generalized, and I'm going to skip through a few of these slides so that we don't get too lengthy here. But as you can see, there are spaces for 2 offices and 4 exam rooms at the front of the building, leading directly into the treatment and then the surgical and housing areas. There will not be any overnight boarding. There will not be any stays, like week stay boarding, and no medical overnights. Those patients that need additional care will be referred to a 24-hour facility. There are 3 parking spaces behind the building which can be used for clientele, and the employees will actually obtain Metro parking spaces and park in those dedicated spaces downtown. We did get approved for the residential variance through planning and zoning, since we are less than 100 feet from the residential district. We did also get our special use variance granted as well. Pet waste. It's always the question, what happens when the dogs have to go to the bathroom? Where are they going to go? Are they going to go by the neighbors? No. Nobody wants less than I do to have somebody have to step over a pile of feces to get into the building. That discourages my clients from coming as well. My proposal is to promote an indoor solution. And so in the dog boarding areas, when they're coming to stay for the day for surgical procedures, or if their pet owners need to drop them off, go to work and pick them up later, there's an indoor grass. It's an artificial turf, actually, which is created with specialized drainage that is built into the floor of the building, and then has antimicrobial beads to prevent waste, like smell and those sorts of things. So it can be decontaminated. But it also keeps the pets a little safer. They don't have to go outside in traffic areas, those sorts of things. Sound migration also is always a question that comes up, but there are products like Quiet Rock, which can be used during construction to actually eliminate sound migration, both in sections of the building so that people in the front of the building don't hear if a pet wakes up from anesthesia and is anxious. Nobody in the lobby is able to hear that. The financing has already been approved through Bank of America Practice Solutions. We've kind of already gone through the economic development impacts, and the community benefits, I think, have been covered well prior to this, and so I don't believe that that's the point of this evening. But I do want you to know that this is a culmination of education and experience that has been a long time coming, and I am really looking forward to doing it in your village.
Thank you.
Thank you.
At this time, before I have the trustees make any comments, is there anybody in the audience who'd like to, what you do is come up to the podium, state your name, and you've got, this will be difficult for this guy, but you got 3 minutes. No.
My name is Irv Kaplan, and I have a shop right near where the veterinary hospital or clinic will be. And I want to speak in favor of this installation of this clinic. After listening to Jennifer, I'm almost ready to change doctors, but I won't do that. I also want her to know that I have pet-proof carpet. But my main reason for, I do. That was a pitch. My main reason for being here is not only to see the clinic in here. After 35 years on and around the street, I would really like to see every empty store, every empty building filled with a tenant. I know a lot of time has passed where the trustees and people who are in charge of the town would like to get what you call the right kind of businesses in. But I agree that retail is no longer, like Jill said, the main entity of a street. I also would like everyone in town and the trustees to know that when I advocate filling every store, I would even say that it would be fine with me if you brought in 2 more furniture stores. The more, the merrier. My purpose in endorsing and also wanting to see everything filled is because this will indeed bring more people walking the street. Don't worry about how it happens or where it happens. And as far as parking is concerned, that's an old subject that's getting worn out. I have been here a long time, never had a parking problem. We don't have a problem because most of the people that come here come either for lunchtime, dinner, or they're here by appointment. There's no, it's not like Oak Brook where 110,000 people are in an 8,000 person community all day long. It's not like that. The other thing is I think we can, Jennifer can do this. Jessica. Did I say Jennifer? No.
Jessica.
Jessica, right, like my granddaughter.
Just say doctor.
Dr. Jessica, yes. I think that she can instruct her patients that after they drop off their dogs, if they want to stick around, there's a parking up north of us, parking south of us. There's plenty of parking. And I'll even extend my stress-free chairs to any of her patients to sit for a while, but not overnight either.
Thank you.
Anyhow, thank you.
Thank you.
So I'm all for it.
Thank you. And just whoever wants to speak, you have an opportunity. Just come up, state your name. You want their address too? No, just your name.
Good evening. Thanks for your time. My name is Steve Zanoni. I'm a police lieutenant for the Village of Forest Park. And just to hopefully ease maybe one of your concerns, I heard that you were speaking about the ordinance within 100 feet of residential areas. During my 23 years on the police department, our village had the opportunity to have 2 animal hospitals operating at one time, and both were well within 100 feet. And I was able to do some brief research as far back as our new computer system would take us. The citizen complaints for any type of animal bite, we didn't have any. And as far as any complaints about disposal of any waste or anything else from the animal hospitals, we didn't have any of those as well. The only thing related to, we have a meat packing plant in our town, and we got more complaints on that than we did 2 animal hospitals. And unfortunately, the only reasons they closed is the original owner of the first hospital passed away and the family sold the property, and the second one was sold to build condominiums. That one, in fact, was in a very similar area to what you have on Cass Avenue. Those familiar with the Village of Forest Park were about 18,000 people in 2.5 square miles in radius, and it was right on Madison, just west of Harlem Avenue. It's very similar to what you're looking at on Cass, and we, based on my research going back as far as I could, we didn't even have a complaint as far as an animal urinating on a sidewalk. So both were, at the time I was a Forest Park resident, and it was a real asset to be able to take my pet very quickly. And I think it would be the same thing here. And I've had the opportunity to know Dr. Tork for some time, and I think she'd be an asset, and her practice would be an asset to your community. And I can say, I'm an Elmhurst resident now, I'd probably be one of her first clients. So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Come on up.
Good evening. My name is Chris Luther. I'm homeowner at 36 North Linden, the house that's immediately behind the building in question, right across the alley. So I look into the back of the building from our kitchen, from our bedroom, all the time. I attended the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting to learn about the business with the obvious concerns about the waste, noise, odor. And I came away very positive on the doctor's plan to address those concerns. So I'm in favor of her business. I'd like to endorse her business and welcome her to the community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Kate McGovern. I'm a 12-year, almost 13-year resident of Westmont. I'm probably going to be the one that has the negative comment, but it's not intended to be personal. I have been interested over the last several months in particular about our plans with regard to our village and downtown in particular. I'm a huge believer in going to our own businesses, so I was disheartened when Pompeii closed their doors. I was disheartened when our little hand soap shop also closed their doors. So I totally understand what we're up against when it comes to making sure that our downtown looks attractive and has viable businesses. It's a problem to me that we don't necessarily have a bigger plan in play other than making sure that vacant buildings are not vacant anymore. I should also mention that I work 12 to 14-hour days, and I'm a fitness person, so I run a lot, usually in the dark, which I don't necessarily, despite how much I love the Westmont Police, I don't necessarily feel safe, so I usually run around the railroad tracks or downtown. And it's disheartening to me that some of my fellow residents might not pick up after their own dogs, let alone inviting a veterinary practice or a grooming practice or whatever it might be in the downtown area that might invite that more. I'm in agreement completely with the thought process that retail is probably not exactly where we need to be, so we do need to have a game plan. And maybe that might be more restaurants. And Jay Fleming's, The Brood Awakening. I go to China Chef, and sometimes I'm the only one there on Friday nights. But it really, we need to have a good plan, and having restaurants with the potential that there could be pet waste or there could be things that are seen necessarily coming in and out of a veterinary practice, not necessarily palatable. But I also understand that the veterinary practice has assured us that there would be cleanup, and then I wonder, are we holding some of the places like the bars that I'm constantly stepping over the stubs from cigarettes, or worse, having to run around the people standing outside of those establishments who are smoking. So I really recognize all the promises that are made, and I'm hopeful that they would be fulfilled. But I'm asking that we really make sure that we have a concrete plan about what we really want. And if it really is not going to be more retail, and if it's more restaurant space, or spaces that folks can walk to when the traffic really does get pretty bad in the evening, that we have a big game plan. And I'm hopeful that we do recognize and invite you to Westmont. I'm just not necessarily sure and would strongly oppose that it would be in the downtown location. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Seeing no one, then we will close the public comment, and I ask the board at this point to, I entertain a motion.
Motion by Addington to approve.
Second, Nero.
Motion's been made and second to approve on the question. Trustees.
I had a couple of questions. One of them was, can you tell us what your hours of operation would be?
I would anticipate during the week between 8 and 6 p.m. and on Saturdays from 9 to 1.
Saturdays 9 to 1, okay.
On a standard day, how many patients do you see generally? And, you know, the mix may be a little bit, I have 2 dogs. I have 2
I'm
big dogs.
smiling because I'm like, I'm hoping about 30. But in reality, I mean, initially it'll be slower, but I think on a busy day, you could anticipate 30 in that 10-hour period.
Okay.
Usually about 2 per hour, sometimes a fill-in here or there, it depends. And then sometimes there might be surgeries that I would mix into that as well. So, I mean, truly, if I got to 30 patients, I'd be looking at a second doctor. So it's feasible.
Any other, Trustee Eddie?
Yeah, Doctor, if you would, I think, help everybody also, because one of the things that wasn't addressed was, and you explained this at Economic Development when you came in front of us, what happens to a dog that you've done some surgery with that is going to require some additional, like, overnight care?
Overnight care.
Yeah, because we really, I think everyone needs to hear that.
Sure. Those animals get referred to a 24-hour care facility. So like VCA Arboretum View or Aurora, someplace that has doctors on call overnight where those patients can be monitored. If they need to be kept overnight, it's generally because they're dehydrated, so they have IV fluids. We don't want them ripping their catheters out. Urinary catheters because they had an obstruction, some sort of major abdominal surgery where they need to be managed for their pain and vital signs. And so those sorts of pets, I'm not comfortable leaving in a clinic overnight. My thought is that if they need to be in a clinic overnight, they need to be watched. Otherwise, they can go home with their families.
Otherwise, you send them home.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Any other comments?
No questions, Mayor. Just a quick comment is I think you addressed all the concerns. That indoor bathroom, whatever you want to call it, is pretty unique. Is that all you're going to be kind of doing, is just keeping them inside for going to the bathroom? Or is
that would be my intention.
Yeah.
I mean, truly, there's not a lot of green space. The only green space really is at West Suburban Funeral Home, has like a couple of little green patches, and Tony was like, oh, you can let them go on there. I was like, I don't think you're going to like that after a minute. And it's not actually that unique an idea. There are multiple airports, about 15 or 20 airports within the United States that have indoor pet relief areas so that people traveling with their pets don't have to go outside security and then go back through the TSA lines. So they're instituted in quite a few different areas just for ease for management of that very thing. So I think this is actually a really unique way to incorporate that, but it addresses that concern, I think, the best way that I know how.
Yeah. Thank you. No, I think it looks like a good facility and a nice upgrade to that building, and, you know, potentially bring a lot more people downtown. So that's all I have, Mayor. Thanks.
Yeah, if it is approved, I wish you well.
Thank you.
Your presentation was excellent.
Thank you.
Seeing no other questions, I call for a roll call, please.
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Trustee Guzzo.
Yes.
Trustee Barker.
Yes.
Trustee Little.
Yes.
Trustee Addington.
Yes.
Where'd she go? Oh, congratulations. We'll look forward to
Yeah,
your
amen.
opening. When do you think that would be?
Record it. I anticipate that if we get permits within the next 30 to 60 days, we'll then have a 4-month build-out. So 6 months from now puts us about March, April.
Beautiful.
Very good.
Wonderful. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Doctor.
Moving on, new business B, 21 North Cass Avenue, the Harmony Massage and Wellness Center. Board to consider an ordinance approving a development permit request from Linda Newland to allow for the operation of Harmony Massage and Wellness Center in the B1 Limited Business District. And again, Community Development Director Ziegler.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a small tenant space of about 400 square feet that meets our zoning requirements. It creates no parking concerns. The massage license has previously been approved by the Village Board, and the applicant was given a positive recommendation by EDC. This is an administrative last step, and we recommend approval.
Do I have a motion?
So move Guzzo. Second Little.
Motion been made and second to approve. On the question. Seeing none, roll call, please.
Trustee Guzzo.
Yes.
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Trustee Barker.
Yes.
Trustee Little.
Yes.
Trustee Addington.
Yes.
Motion passes. New business C. LWV Odessa Ponds LLC rezoning variances site plan review. Board to consider an ordinance approving the following requests from the Westmont Village Apartments for the following. 1, a map amendment request to rezone from R4 General Residence District to a planned development overlay district in the underlying R4 General Residence District with the following exceptions from the zoning code. A, exception to reduce the required amount of usable open space, which is currently non-conforming. Exception to permit existing non-conforming lot area. C, exception to permit existing non-conforming front yard setbacks. 2, zoning code variance requests to exceed the maximum number of allowable accessory structures to construct clubhouse facilities. 3, a zoning code variance request to exceed the maximum size of an accessory clubhouse structure. 4, zoning code variance requests to exceed the maximum height of an accessory clubhouse structure. 5, zoning code variance requests to permit existing non-conforming number of parking spaces. 6, site and landscaping plan approval for the construction of clubhouse facilities. 7, plan development agreement. And 8, a masonry waiver request. Community Development Ziegler.
Thank you, Mayor. That was a mouthful. The applicant is presenting a site plan to the Village Board with a new clubhouse and associated required landscaping and site plan improvements. This plan that I've got before you shows the new parkway trees that are going to be planted all along 67th Street, which should further add to our corridor landscaping that we've been recommending. The Westmont Village Apartments request to rezone the property and permit their existing variances to remain non-conforming. The Planning and Zoning Commission reviewed this project in both July and August, and after getting revised documents, talking with the public, and discussing all of the changes that are proposed, they made a unanimous positive recommendation. I'm available for any questions, and the attorney is here representing the project as well.
Do I have a motion?
Motion by Addington to approve.
Second, Barker.
Motion made and seconded to approve. On the question. I don't know if the attorney, I know he's going to have one, I just read.
Read my mind as always. Plan development agreement got emailed to you all recently.
Yes.
Substantively, it's finalized and in good shape. Mechanically, there are a few little cleanup items, so the ordinance approving that agreement gives the village authority and community development director authority to take care of it. Just a few minor cleanup issues that I'm working with the attorney on, but it's more things like the legal description, the numbering. He just caught a few typos, so we're just cleaning those things up and they'll get recorded.
Any additional?
I had a question about, in the fine print there, they were talking about the stormwater, and there was, if I read it right, that there was no concern about it, building a clubhouse and creating additional stormwater runoff because the topography and what is in place already is adequate.
Right.
Well, they're disturbing less than 2,500 square feet. Is that?
Yes, I believe so. And then there's also some Matt, did you want to address any of the?
It's under a threshold is what I, you know.
Yeah, I know Matt Goodman with the law firm Rosenhoven Whitaker here on behalf of LWV Odessa Ponds. The net impervious area is actually being reduced from, I don't know if you saw that impervious exhibit, so an issue of stormwater runoff, there shouldn't be any.
Okay, so that answers the question. Thank you.
Any additional?
I would just like to comment, it's nice to see it getting cleaned up, and it's coming along very nicely, so thank you very much.
Yeah.
Trustee Eddington.
That was basically that this is a monumental improvement to the south end of our community, and I commend these folks for what they're trying to do, and they're definitely the upgrades and the improvements and the way it looks is, and it's only going to continue because they're not done yet. So I was
going to say, let's keep it going.
Yeah, amen.
Yeah.
So good luck, and
I've toured the property both before and after the changes, and the improvements are substantial. We're looking forward to the rest of the permitting, and our complaints have gone down substantially as well. So
and
it is
John just
appreciated.
handled all this as one vote.
Yes, we need one motion, and we made that motion already, so I'd ask Clerk Simsky for a roll call, please.
Trustee Barker.
Yes.
Trustee Guzzo.
Yes.
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Trustee Addington.
Yes.
Trustee Little.
Yes.
Yes, she said.
Motion passes. New business, D, Board and Commission's compensation. Board to consider an ordinance adjusting the compensation of the Village Board of Trustees and Commission members. And I'm either going to look for Finance Director Parker or Manager May to talk about this.
The municipal code provides that any changes made will not take effect during the current term of elected officials and must be made more than 108 days, it's probably 80, huh? Prior to the commencement of a new term. So these changes that are being proposed, we discussed this at the Administration Committee earlier this evening, but are for only newly elected individuals moving forward and would not take effect until May 1st of 2017.
And would take effect for existing trustees
re-elected,
who are re-elected once their current term expires. The rules are you can't change compensation of an elected official during their term, and you have to do it 180 days before any new term starts for a newly elected official.
Commission members can be changed at any time the board passes.
Right.
So we're looking to make these amendments and have them done for May 1st for our fiscal year. So.
There was
On
one
the
other.
background of the subject matter, it mentions 108 days. Is that
To say
spoken?
108?
It's 100.
Spelled out.
180.
It should be 180.
108 or 180?
180, it's 6 months.
Okay, 'cause
Yeah, so that's
This
incorrect.
looks like it might be mistyped.
It's
Okay.
It is.
It probably was.
And we're well.
I mistyped it.
We're
I
within
apologize.
that.
Tonight would be within 180 days.
Yes.
Okay.
Next
Any other-
meeting would not.
Any other comments? Anybody from the audience?
I need a motion.
Yeah, we need a motion to approve as presented.
Motion, Nero.
Second, Little?
Motion's been made and second. Any additional questions? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Trustee Guzzo.
Yes.
Trustee Barker.
Yes.
Trustee Little.
Yes.
Trustee Addington.
Yes.
Motion passes. New business E, 2004 Elgin Pelican sweeper, declare as surplus. Board to consider an ordinance to declare the 2004 Elgin Pelican sweeper as surplus. And Public Works Director Ramsey.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, we're just asking to, if you remember, I think it was the last village board meeting, you approved the purchase order to purchase the new Elgin sweeper. What we're asking for is to declare it a surplus because we're using it as a trade-in value. We're going to get we're going to get $10,000 for the trade-in, so which is a very fair price for a Pelican. It's almost 13 years old, so we're just asking you to declare it surplus. So when we get the new Pelican delivered, they can take the old Pelican away as a trade-in.
Is it going to be traded in?
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, the purchase that you've already agreed to shows that as a trade-in. This is the formality of, you actually have to declare it
declaring a
surplus so that we can do that.
Because any other, our other surplus, we usually go to auction with it?
Correct.
Yes, okay. Do I have a motion?
Motion by Addington to approve.
Second, Nero.
Motion made and second to approve as surplus. On the question.
I have a question for Mike. Just how many pelicans can you sweep up with one of these sweepers? And congratulations on your 30 years.
Thank you
All
very much. I
right.
appreciate that. Thank you.
Any additional? If not, roll call, please.
Trustee Addington.
Yes.
Trustee Little.
Yes.
Trustee Barker.
Yes.
Trustee Guzzo.
Yes.
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Motion passes. Moving on the agenda, miscellaneous. Any board member have any? Clerk Simsky does.
I do. I forgot to announce, and I don't want Larry to kill me, that our next Public Information Committee meeting will be October 13th at 4:30. And I will not be here that night because that's my training in Springfield. I'll be gone that Thursday night, so it'll either be Alicia or Kathy Detello that will be there for that.
Any other?
Yeah, one other thing, just because I forgot to mention it before. In front of all of you, I gave you a memo of the meeting that we had Tuesday morning for DuPage Mayors and Managers Legislative Committee. Read it at your leisure. Again, it's good reading. It's interesting. Not a lot going on. Everybody's off now running for re-election. But there are some new initiatives, so.
One was in here tonight.
What's that?
I think one was in here tonight.
Yeah, helping with this. Any other miscellaneous items?
Great.
And since we do not have an executive session, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Little?
Second, Nero.
Motion made and seconded to adjourn. Roll call, please.
Trustee Little.
Yes.
Trustee Addington.
Yes.
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Trustee Guzzo.
Yes.
Trustee Barker.
Yes.
And I will adjourn this meeting. I'm just looking back on our new police chief. Looks like he's lost, but this meeting's adjourned.